In order to make it to the NCAA tournament once again, the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team needed to win the ECAC. Could they do it? We'll let you know. The last episode of the Neutral Zone of the semester is coming your way. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Neutral Zone. My name is MJ Baird. Alongside me today, Kirby Paulson. And Kirby, one last time on the desk for hockey season.
Yeah, that was pretty grim, MJ. I got to be honest. That tease really made me pretty sad, but hockey season's not over yet.
All right, so since we're still here, let's have some fun doing it. Quinnipiac, as I said, wanted to make the NCAA tournament, but in order to do that, they would have to win the ECAC playoffs. Quinnipiac beat St. Lawrence in a 3-game series 2 weekends ago, and now this past weekend they're up in Lake Placid looking to beat Harvard in the ECAC semifinals. Let's show you a look at how the game went. Quinnipiac and Harvard, as I said, Lake Placid, Kirby, Herb Brooks Arena. Great arena to play at.
Absolutely classic history right there, MJ.
We'll take you straight to the second period. Harvard and Quinnipiac tied at 0, and Sean Malone's going to change that. Walks right into the slot, takes a rip. Harvard goes up 1-0. A lot more, Kirby, of Sean Malone in this game.
Yeah, we'll see a whole lot more from him. He had a really hot stick that night, huh?
Absolutely. Harvard leading by 1, though. Quinnipiac trying to climb back in it, and they will with this goal from Thomas Aldworth. Kirby, how does that even go in?
Puck luck, man. That's what Quinnipiac's thrived on all season. That just goes their way right there. Good opportunity.
Quinnipiac ties it up in the second period, but 3 minutes later, who but? Sean Malone on the back door.
No surprise there, MJ.
We'll take you to the third period, and let's have a listen to the ASN call of the game.
Here to back away, Esposito in front, Malone, backhander, he scores! Hat trick, Sean Malone, and Harvard leads by 2.
Malone gets the hat trick, Kirby. Definitely a good feat for him.
Disgusting goal by Malone there to get that hat trick clincher right there. Beautiful game for him, beautiful game for Harvard too.
Then that is the empty netter. Harvard goes on to win 4-1. So Quinnipiac's season comes to an end up at Lake Placid Arena. So what was the difference maker in this game?
Couple of things. That potent Harvard offense. I mean, you had Sean Malone with that hat trick. He ended up with 4 points, I think, on the weekend. You got guys like Luke Esposito, Ryan Donato also putting in a good offensive effort. But don't count out those Harvard defenders either. I mean, Fox, you got Sherman and Marino. All three of those guys had a real solid series and really made sure that the Quinnipiac offense was really saturated on what they were able to do. They took away those passing opportunities. They didn't let them get a whole lot of shots on until that third period. But again, that third period, 15 shots on for the Bobcats. And you know who the key of that game was? Merrick Madsen.
Yeah.
Guy showed up when it mattered most. Might not have been tested in those first 2 periods, but when it mattered most in that third period, when Quinnipiac was bringing the heat and the pressure, he really stepped up.
Madsen said it after the game. He faced most of his shots, or at least the hefty shots in the third period, and he was able to hold strong for the Crimson. Kirby, well, let's take a look at what I like to call the state of the team for the men's ice hockey team, where they finished in the pairwise rankings. The top 16 teams are going to make the NCAA tournament, and Quinnipiac finishes outside of that. They do finish at 21. These, of course, are the top 10 teams in the pairwise. The teams you see highlighted in yellow are the teams that won their respective conferences. Kirby, Quinnipiac was the number 5 seed in the ECAC tournament, and they just fall short this year for the first time since the 2011-2012 season. So if you look at this season as a whole, we talked about it last night on Bobcat Breakdown, but can you nub this season a success?
I don't think you can. I mean, for a team that should annually, every single year, go out and be able to compete at the top level, and at least the top 15, top 14 schools, you really want your school to succeed. And I don't necessarily think that this is a success. But what I will say is it did expose some bright spots for this team. You got guys like Alex Whalen coming back. You know that you have a good goaltending situation, whether it's Andrew Shortridge coming back or you got Keith Petruzzelli coming in as well. So it really did expose some really bright spots, and it let the leaders get one good season in. Most of the guys had really statistically strong seasons. Tim Clifton, Connor Clifton, both leaders. They had really showed up when it mattered most. And don't forget, it was a tough season. They were without firepower with the departures of Sam Anderson, Devon Taves. So that really makes a difference as well.
So looking at the season as a whole, as we kind of just did, what would you say, if you had to pick one thing, what did this team do well? And on the flip side, what did this team do poorly?
I think what they did well, and I know we're going to talk about it in the next topic, is they played a really good game with the last 5 of 7 or so.
Yes.
They played some really hot hockey in the end. Doesn't matter who you're playing. You always want to have that extra confidence boost at the end. You want to be playing your best hockey. They were scoring goals. They had some confident wins. They got a whole lot of points on the board. Really confident performance in a series against a tough St. Lawrence team. Something they didn't do well, it might have been in the beginning, the goaltending inconsistency. It's really tough to kind of go in between. I think they ended up finding that in Andrew Shortridge, who ended up being one of the best goaltenders in the conference, and I don't think anyone can contest that. But I think there was a little bit of inconsistency, and also the buy-in levels were down at times.
Yeah.
You heard Rand talk about that even after the game in the Three Rivers Classic. That was a tough one. So you have to have your buy-in and compete level up all the time, 24/7, and I think it was a bit of a roller coaster season for them.
It's funny you say that, Kirby, because after that semifinal loss to Harvard, Rand Pecknold, after the game, had something to say about his team's effort. Let's have a listen.
I don't think the desperation was good enough through the first 2 periods. I thought it was okay. We had some kids that were just awesome tonight. I thought Connor Clifton was one of the best players on the ice. He was dominant, but we had some of our players, not a lot, but we had a few that struggled in the moment and didn't play well. And it's a team sport, and we really needed all 19 guys going tonight to beat a team as good as Harvard.
So, Kirby, we just heard you say it, and then Rand Pecknold talk about this up and down in terms of team effort. But what do you think was the reason for this? I mean, last year, Rand Pecknold harped on how the buy-in level was so exceptional all year long.
That's a psychological thing, and I really don't necessarily know. It goes player by player, and in order to win games like this, you have to have a full team effort from everyone. Obviously, the buy-in level is going to vary with each and every player, but it seemed like at times that the group was not necessarily not confident. I wasn't in the locker room. I can't sit here and say that. But at times that buy-in level was low. So I don't know if necessarily I'm qualified to be able to sit here and say this is the reason why. But I also think that at times there were series in which it seemed like they were just not skating up to their capability. And that's got to be tough for a head coach.
Yeah, absolutely, Kirby. We're going to take a quick break here on the Neutral Zone. But when we come back, Kirby and I are going to talk about our top plays of the season, as well as some of the highs and lows of the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey season. Stay with us.
Coming up on hashtag that. We are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Hello, Quinnipiac hockey fans, and welcome to the Neutral Zone.
Definitely St. Lawrence, and I think you're going to see the test coming up real soon.
They might be having a bit of an adjustment issue without that CBS line, but don't count them out.
At High Point Solutions Arena in Game 2 of Quinnipiac vs. Northeastern Series.
Welcome back to the Neutral Zone. Thank you for sticking with us, Kirby. Let's look at a timeline from Quinnipiac's season, from when it started and now to where it ended. This is a segment I like to call Highs and Lows.
Take a look.
So the highs and the lows of the Quinnipiac season, Kirby, we're going to start way back on October 14th. This is what I think is a low for the Quinnipiac season. They lose to UMaine in overtime. Chris Truel with 4 goals against. Tough loss.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not the way you want to start one of your opening series of the year. Again, I believe it was their second series of the opening year, but again, that's not the way you want to get going, especially on the road, but All Thunder Arena, a very tough place to play.
Next thing, we have a high. Middle of November, Quinnipiac sweeps Cornell and Colgate. They pick up their 4th and 5th wins of the season, start conference play at 5-1. We'll move on to another low. Thanksgiving break, Quinnipiac, fresh off its loss in the Friendship 4 final, they get swept by Princeton.
Yeah, very tough series for them. Again, they wanted to come in with a big performance. They thought they had this one in the bag, but again, Princeton coming in with a whole lot of energy, and Quinnipiac isn't able to even get a win on the weekend.
This sweep, part of a stretch where Quinnipiac loses 6 out of 8 games. We'll head to another low. Mid-January, Quinnipiac playing about 500 hockey at this point, and they lose to Arizona State.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. But again, Arizona State, a growing program. I'd like to see how their development as a program goes forward. But not a great night for the Bobcats that day.
Arizona State, only a second-year program. Quinnipiac was ranked 17th in the USCHO.com poll at this point in the year. Of course, they split with Arizona State 1-1. We'll send it now to a high. Quinnipiac ends the regular season winning 5 of 7 games. Kirby, this is a good stretch for the team.
Yeah, not bad at all. And we talked about it earlier. I mean, you want to beat Yale at home, and you want to be streaking right into the playoffs. You want to be playing your best hockey. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. You want to be scoring goals. You want to be feeling good, heading directly into that postseason run. That's what they did.
Quinnipiac also able to retain the Heroes hat with their win over Yale at home, as you can see some footage of that game. Definitely a high-intensity game. Another high for the Quinnipiac team, the ECAC quarterfinals. Kirby, we covered this game. Quinnipiac goes down 1-0 in the series, comes back with their backs to the wall and wins.
One of the finest series of hockey I've seen in my long time here as a hockey fan. Really just a really tough St. Lawrence team. Whole lot of intensity, whole lot of speed. Great atmosphere at the arena, but Quinnipiac was able to come back with a whole lot of heart, whole lot of grit. It was a gutsy effort, and they were able to pull it off.
Not an easy place to play up in North Country, New York. Kirby, not much going on up there anyway. We were there. And the one final low for this season, of course, we just talked about it. ECAC championships in Lake Placid. Quinnipiac falls to Harvard 4-1.
Yeah, it's got to be tough, especially for the seniors on this team. You get to that point and you lose. But again, program's growing. We'll see how they do next year, and the sun's going to rise again, MJ, for this team.
That's right. Of course, next season will start. Of course, fall semester next year, right around October, right around Halloween. And Kirby, looking back at this year, I think you have some 3 stars for this season. So let's start it off. Who do you think was the best rookie this year, the best freshman on this team?
I think the best freshman of this team, and I hopped on it from really the middle of the season because he seemed to be doing everything right at the right time, was Alex Whalen. Freshman out of Ramsey, New Jersey. He really ended up putting on a great performance. The points might only be 6 goals, 4 assists, but again, he does everything right. This kid hit more posts in one game on one call that I was on. It was the most frustrating thing in the world to continue to say, oh, he hits another post. But again, comes in with a lot of intensity. He skates extremely well. He's a very strong skater. And I think that Quinnipiac's going to end up with a bona fide stud in this game.
Yeah, Ramsey, from Ramsey. Whalen definitely going to be a stud for Quinnipiac moving forward. Kirby, let's move on now to your best forward of this season.
Craig Martin is my best forward of this season. You know, Craig Martin sometimes can be overshadowed by the Tim Cliftons and guys like that, but Martin is such an important skater for this team. He put up 27 points. He was such a big point getter, but he's also such a skill player. Great stick handler, great on the forecheck as well. So Quinnipiac really got a great player in Martin this year, and he really went out there every single game. It seemed like his buy-in level of everybody's was really at a top level there.
And Kirby, best defenseman. Who do you got?
Chase Prisky. It's not even a question to ask here. Chase Prisky was by far the best defenseman of this team. Well, maybe not so much by far, but he was extremely impressive this year. 26 points. He had a heck of a lot of power play goals this year. Offensively involved, this is exactly what you want. But again, great in transition, was able to take down those passing lanes. And as a sophomore, that's what you want. You want these younger guys that need to step into these bigger roles, step up, and Prisky did that this season.
Kirby, I see Prisky being the type of player next year that's going to step up into a leadership role, maybe even have that A on his jersey. So the season's come and gone. Let's take a look at some of the top plays and moments of this season. Top 5 plays, not of the week, Kirby. This is our Sports Pause graphic, but of the men's hockey season, as I was just saying. We're going to start with play number 5. February 4th, the date of this game, versus Yale. Chase Prisky down at Ingles Arena. 2 power play goals in the game, both absolute rips from the point.
Yeah, what a performance by Prisky there, especially in a tough place to play like Ingles. It's so small, people are right on top of it, but again, Bobcats coming away with that one.
Kirby sticking with Yale. Let's go to February 25th, as I was saying, at home. Quinnipiac beats Yale. The hero hat stays in Hamden.
Great atmosphere. Quinnipiac fans love when Yale comes into town, so they were going nuts for it. It's great to come away with the win, especially towards the end of that season.
We'll go ahead to play number 3 now. As you see the Bobcats there celebrating with the Heroes hat. Play number 3, ECAC first round, Thomas Aldworth, making it look easy.
My goodness, send that one to ESPN. Send it right up there to Bristol. That one needs to be up top.
Play number 2 now, ECAC quarterfinals, Thomas Aldworth on the doorstep. This isn't the play that's going to make the play be number 2. It's actually the situation. Quinnipiac beats St. Lawrence after being down 1-0.
Extremely important series. It shows a whole lot of heart, and they went right into that ECAC championship very confident.
And the top play of the year, yup, you guessed it, Nick Germain, what some people are saying, perhaps the greatest college hockey goal of the season. That is our top play of the winter hockey season. Let's take another look in slow motion. Kirby, that's just too good.
MJ, I was covering hockey in Princeton that weekend, and my ankle still hurt, and I was over 200 miles away.
Kirby, quick hitting question. What is the biggest bright spot this team has?
Well, I think, you're getting most of your defensive core back. You're still losing guys like Connor Clifton, but again, you're getting guys like Brogan Rafferty, Kyle Schucksta, Chase Prisky. You want those younger guys that have already stepped into big roles, even on the offensive side, to continue to flourish for a team like this one.
That is all the time we have today on the Neutral Zone. Thank you so much for following our content all year long. Again, you can check that out at www.q30television.com and on social media at Q30 Sports. For Kirby Paulson, I'm MJ Baird. Everyone behind the scenes, it has been a pleasure producing this show for you week in and week out. We'll see you next year.